big family.
Yes, you were.
But I didn't have, we didn't have any money. But what we had was the most important stuff you ever have as a mother and a father who were absolutely encouraging us and
Wow.
didn't mind whipping our behinds if we violated their rules. And that's just the
Wow.
way it was, period. Rules like you're going to be clean, you couldn't, the house, the little house we were in, you couldn't, it wouldn't be dirty.
Uh-huh.
You had to bathe before you went to bed. There's a whole bunch of rules. I mean,
And then you had chores to do,
oh
right?
yeah.
Before you went to.
After a while, it was just automatic. So, and the interesting thing about that is, if you really don't mind working, you don't mind working,
Uh-huh.
you can usually get ahead in this country.
So was your father, what did he do? Was he a farmer?
He was a
You
farmer.
said he was a farmer, right?
He's a farmer. And looking back at that, when I was 15, that's when we left the farm. But by that time, I knew how to do everything that needed to be done to operate that little farm with that one mule. You see, and when I left, by the time I left there, I remember my parents constantly drilled into us you to work. If you stole something, and of course, you pick up something, which a boy would do. I was a boy. I took it down. And my mother would say, where did that pencil come from? Well, you said, well, I found it. Wait a minute. You find too many pencils. Take it back where you found it. And that's the way it was.
Wow.
I mean,
So, and you said you had 6 other,
yeah, 3 sisters and 3 brothers.
3 sisters and 3 brothers. Did they go in also into a profession?
Well, all of them are college graduates. In general, I refer to myself as a trained SEAL. The rest of the family is educated because they all got college degrees. Well, my brothers and sisters have college degrees. They have, let's see, 2, 3 of them have master's degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 of them have master's degrees, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 2 of them taught special education.
Uh-huh.
And then my youngest sister was a social worker in New York. Now all these have master's degrees.
Wow. And so they just kind of, once you kids got like from the farm and started growing up and going your different journeys, they're kind of everywhere then, all over the United States. You're the only one in Nashville, Tennessee, from your family?
Well, I'm in Nashville. I got a sister out in California, a brother in Toledo, Ohio, a brother in New York, a brother in Columbia, Maryland.
Wow.
And my
I bet
sister,
y'all family reunion is
oh
interesting.
yeah, my sister next to me is still down in Alabama, not too far from where we lived from the time of 44, from 1944 until my mother died a few years back.
Wow, that is amazing, Dr. Magruder. And I know, too, that you are a multifaceted young gentleman as well. And in fact, I begged you to bring some of that other hat that you wear, and that is that you are an artist. Not only, which I thought was not a strange mixture of professions. I guess they kind of go together, but I thought it was a pleasant surprise to hear that not only do you bring life, we're bringing life in the world, but you also was creating sculptures, which I asked you to bring one of them in. Can you describe to our viewing audience what this is all about?
Well, I call that folded.
Folded.
Like FOLDED, so folded up. And
and what is this wood? This is wood.
In fact, I don't even know what kind of wood that is. I believe it was sycamore. I'm not sure. And that's not my favorite wood. My favorite wood is walnut or cherry.
So when did you start sculpturing? When did you start doing that
About
woodworking?
40 years ago.
Really? Now, how did you discover that talent? Was it just something you were automatically really?
All of this was automatic. I didn't go to school for this. I've never taken a lesson. But when I worked with the Boy Scouts from the time my oldest son was a cub, which he's now 53 or 4. I have to get my little book out to see how old my
Okay.
he is. Anyway, when I started working with the Boy Scouts, you always got a knife.
Oh
That's part of a Boy Scout
that's
stuff.
part of the Boy
And
Scouts.
I started whittling on stuff. Now, it's interesting. There's a difference between a whittler and a carver.
It is?
A whittler takes something and makes it into nothing. You hand a whittler a stick, and he
Right,
sits down
and he
and
whittles
just shaves it up until finally you end up with a pile of nothing. But a sculpture is different. First, you have to see something in the wood, and you carve it, and end up, when you finish it, people can look at it and can see at least the shape. They don't necessarily, the detail
So
may not be
actually,
there.
the wood almost has the artist to see it.
Yeah,
The artist to see it
that, he
first, the
imagines it.
shape, the
Yeah,
what.
yeah. And you start working at it, and you just work
Like
at it.
you define it. It's
Yeah.
like you're refining.
And of course, you always crack a joke, if you ask her. I remember Ridley, Ridley, the outstanding artist in Nashville.
Yes.
I said, Ridley, how you do that? He said, well, what I do is I look at the piece of stone and said, well, I just start chipping away. I chip away everything off the stone except the bud that I'm going to leave in there.
Oh, so okay, then you chipping away the wood except for the figure.
The figure of that
you
man.
leave the figure.
I left him in
of
there.
That folded
'cause he was-
man in that wood.
See, he was already in there. I call my...
you just helped bring him out.
Yeah, right. I call my my art, the title I use when I have something in a show or anything like that, is out of wood. In fact, I have
Out of wood.
out of wood.